You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again, and man, we have another show lined up for y'all today. Man, today we have a powerhouse story. It's an amazing story, and I can't wait for y'all to hear more about it. Is a special guest today, Raittia Rogers. She has a book out, I Broke Out of Prison. You go check out the book on Amazon and also visit her website, ibrokeoutofprison.com. She's been on many news outlets. She has, just on many platforms. So we're going to hear all about her story. First and foremost, Raittia, just want to say thank you for being on the show today. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. Yes, it's a great day. Glad to be on the show. Thank you, Shamaya.
Thanks for taking time to be on here. And man, this book, it is a book that makes you want to read it just from the title by itself, because that's what the show is all about, is giving people like yourself an opportunity to, get your voice heard and tell your story. First and foremost, man, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what true events inspired you to write this story.
Well, due to my criminal-minded lifestyle, the way I was raised up around with family members, around friends, different people. A situation happened with my father where he ended up catching a 40-year sentence and for robbery, and he had to do some time in prison. And my mom, after they got a divorce, a bunch of things happened and all of that. But my point I'm trying to get to is when things happen, in kids' life, when you're a kid, you're young, you don't know no better, this and that. And then as you're growing up in life, you watch and you mimic your other family members, your friends, the environment, the atmosphere that you're around. So you tend to pick those vibes up. When you see somebody go fight and rob and steal and join a gang and have a lot of chaos and all that, then you tend to think it's normal. When you're a kid, you're growing up, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7, 8, skip up to 11, 12. And so that's what happened in my life as a youngster. I began to look up for advice and all of that. And that's the advice I would get. Somebody hit you, go hit them back. Somebody hit you, beat them down. Don't run back home and you got your tail beat. And so that's what happened to me as I was growing up, 11 years old, 12, 13. I ended up joining a gang, and I had lots of fights, and I robbed, I did burglaries. I skipped school. I had boyfriends. Females and stuff would always try to try me, and I would beat them up in school. I got suspended a whole lot of times to where I had to, and I was so bad, they put me out in the trailer to take classes and learn from the trailer. So the fights continued. People would test me out. And so I got expelled where I couldn't come back. And so I talk about that in my book, I Broke Out of Prison, about my lifestyle, and it touches home for me, because even though all this stuff happened, I still love my parents, my mother and my father, my family. Life happens. And even though all this happened to me, I got stuck and I didn't know which way to go in life. But in and out of juvenile and shoplifting and all of that and robbery, gangbang, and all this stuff, in and out of juvenile jail. I was jailed, which led up to getting sentenced to prison, Shamaya.
Was faith something that you found during prison? Was faith something that you kind of already had, but it had to be reconnected? What was that for you like?
Well, see, Shamaya, the thing with that was when my parents was together, when they was married, they did raise us up in the church. They raised us up, all of us, me and my siblings, in God. And so as a little girl, I remember getting down on my knees. And there's a part I talk about when I was praying, getting on my knees by my bed to pray every night, the Heavenly Father's prayer, which our dad taught us that. And so to answer your question, yes. So God was already instilled in me and my siblings at a young age. And so, but as I grew up, they got a divorce, My mom was doing her thing out. And, on drugs and alcohol and things like that. And my dad, like I said, was serving a 40-year sentence. So he was away from our life for nearly 20 years. And so, but, he's doing good and everything like that. And so, but yeah, so my time came at 21. And so at this time, I was 21. I got caught up. I went to I went to court, and the thing happened to where they kept me, and I had to serve time in prison, and I didn't know that. I mean, it was all of a sudden that happened to me. It happened all of a sudden, and so that's what happened to me, where I was in this jail cell, right? And so my due to all the criminal activity, and I also want to say I didn't get caught for everything that I did, and by the grace of God, I did not. But at the time, I look back over my life, me doing this and doing that, get involved with this, and other times I had been bonded out. But my life flashed before my eyes, and so there was somebody there in the jail cell with me, and I heard a voice, and it convinced my heart to receive Jesus in my heart. I mean, straight up. I mean, this is the real deal Holyfield right here. This is what happened to me, Raittia Rogers, at 21, and my back was up against the wall. Nobody was there. All the crime and the things that I did, it was just me. It was just me and God. And so a miracle happened for me. And that's what actually changed my life for the better. It was like all of a sudden. I wasn't expecting that. When I got out of prison, I got involved. I went to Bible college and all of that, which was leading up to me getting my DOC. For some of y'all listening, y'all know what that is. It's Department of Correction badge. So I got my badge, which means you can go back in, but this time you're going back in to talk, to pray, and to minister to the inmates. So yeah, I find a joy in that, being able to share my story at the same prisons that I was once locked up at, and so I give them hope. I give them hope and tell the women prisoners that if it happened for me, you can make a change in your life as well.
And during your time in prison, did you have any visitors yourself that give you any kind of support system, or were you completely on your own? And how was that process like for you?
That is a good question. I must say now, during the time of my first semester of incarceration, which was in jail, so my son's dad would come down and support me, come down and visit, would bring my son, and he would keep money on my books, whenever he could. But now there's a thing called pulling chains. When you pull chains, you go to the big house, So they called my name and I went there. And so during that time, I remember one time where, because see, the prisons, they allow churches and organizations to find inmates, where they'll send in letters asking for donations and stuff like that. So I remember one time where I got a letter from some church nearby the prison that I was locked up at. And so I read it, and I remember the government gave every inmate, like, I believe it was no more than $5. I think it was no more than $5, but there was something to an inmate that don't get nothing now. Don't get me wrong. It was something. So what I'm saying is my heart was touched during this time to give my $5 from the government to bless a church, out of my heart. I just felt led to do that. And so the other inmates in the cell was like, man, you're tripping. What? $5 and you don't get nothing from nobody? What? You done lost your mind. And I was like, no, this is what God let me do. So anyway, I sold my $5 from the government to this church, and in a little time after that, I got blessed with a lot of money on my books, and I was grateful for that, because I didn't get any support in prison. Now I did in jail. I didn't get any visits in prison or any money on my books and stuff, and so I had to just depend on God for everything. For everything. A lot of times I wouldn't eat out of the cafeteria. There's hundreds of women lined up to eat The prison looks just like a college compound. And so there's a large, gigantic compound with a lot of women waiting to go in to eat in the cafeteria. And so a lot of times I wouldn't do that. What I was doing was I was declining food to go on a fast, to be able to hear what's my next move, to be able to hear from God on what to do and this and that. So I must say now, God sustained me and kept me strong while I was incarcerated and everything like that. So yeah, it was a life-changing miracle. I mean, all this was brand new. All of this was brand new. I never, ever in my life experienced anything like that as far as the spiritual part, not the prison part, the spiritual part. And also when someone is locked up, a lot of people tend to look for love in all the wrong faces while you're locked up. And so there's very few people that solely depend on God. And so that's exactly what happened to me. And it's all in the book. It's all in the book entitled I Broke Out of Prison, Shemaiah.
And your mindset while you were in prison versus the mindset you have today, what was that like for you while you were in prison? How were you able to survive and keep a strong mind?
In terms of every day reading the Bible, to be strengthened in your spirit, man, to be strengthened in your mind while you locked up so you don't go off and knock the brakes off somebody, pull somebody's head off. It's very hard because a mother that's locked up, you can't see your son. And it's not nobody's fault. I mean, in my situation, it was nobody's fault but my fault. And I owned up to that. But I'm saying while you're locked up, a person can literally go crazy in their mind. You can't see your son. I couldn't see my son. I didn't have any visits while locked up in prison. My whole life was totally dependent upon God. By reading the Bible every day, applying that to my life, I got a lot of prayers answered, God miraculously moved me from this prison cell in there with the other ladies and gave me my heart's desire. Because I didn't want to, flip the script and go off on somebody. I was trying very hard to stay focused on God. And then again, too, now, when somebody's locked up and you go off on somebody and get to acting a fool, now they put you in a hole where you're away from everybody for about 6-9 months plus more. If you get into a fight, you misbehaving, something go down on the yard, and then you looking stupid sitting in a hole that they holding you. You don't know what's going on the compound. You don't even know if somebody's after you or whatever. So a lot of people think about that from preventing that so you can get out like you're supposed to get out and get back to your family, So yeah, so I just depended upon, reading the Bible. And I must say, I would have lost my mind and would have did some of the things that I'm talking about if I didn't keep my prayer life and read my Bible. And they in prisons now, they have prison ministries where different reverends and pastors and all, they come in to minister to the inmates like what I'm doing now. So yes, Shemaiah.
Listen, I Refocus Radio talking to Raittia Rogers. You go to her website, ibrokeoutofprison.com, and get her book on Amazon, I Broke Out of Prison. When you finally got out, what was the moment like when you got the news that your time in prison is going to be up soon? What was going through your mind, and what were the things that you're looking forward towards once you were out?
Yes. My case manager. I had a case manager named Miss Blackburn. And I talked with her and my time was coming up at the end of my days. And so once I sat in her office and figured out I'm about to be released soon. It's like, ooh, like, God, thank you. Jesus, my time is almost here. Yes, I get to see my son. I get to be back restored with my family. This is what I'm going to do, this and that. And so during that time now, I wasn't so quick to go and tell the other inmates. Because see, people got to be careful. You got to be smart when you locked up. Some people, they are jealous of you because you're getting out and they're not getting out no time soon. And so a lot of people have screwed themselves up by running their mouth so quick that somebody was jealous and they got into a fight and had to extend their days for a longer period of time. So I just kept that to myself. I had a few other Christian friends that I would talk to, and we would fast. Meaning of declining food and pray on the yard and stuff like that. So I told a few friends, trustworthy friends, and nothing got back or nothing like that. But my time came, and they gave me some money. They give every inmate some money that you build up since you've been locked up. It's not a whole lot, but it's something. Because so when you leave, you got something to buy. And so they bought me a ticket, and I remember getting on a bus, and I found my mom's house. I found my mom's address, and was restored back to my son and my family. And I thought maybe it could work out with me and the baby's dad, my son's father, but it didn't work out, due to the true change. Now, the true change that happened inside of me, inside of my heart. I wanted to live better, because the experience that I experienced while I was incarcerated, it was no joke. I was not playing at all. And so since I didn't see the change so we could work things out, I guess it wasn't God's will for me, with that particular person. God bless him. I pray the best for him. But so yeah, so I got involved with Sunday school at a church. I got a job. I had a couple of jobs. I took up a Bible school and learned. And there's a lot of more things I can't think at the top of my head. But I've been moving up, and progressing. And so the time came where the book, God was impressing upon my heart to write my story, because I would share. Now, don't get me wrong, I would share with people, but I was much of afraid to tell like a whole lot of people at one time, due to a situation that happened to me, and how some people were treating me different or acting funny towards me because they thought they were better than me, because they had never been locked up, didn't catch a case and all that. They had all these degrees and treated me funny and all of that. So it affected me for a long time. And so, but my time came when God impressed upon my heart to write and share. And I'm like, no, they cannot know, God. No, they cannot know this. They cannot know that. No, okay, I'm going to write, but no, I don't want the world to know. And it was like, okay, I'm in, I'm out, I'm pushed in, I'm out. And I just had to give it up and just write. And so that's when I broke out of prison, was birthed out on Thanksgiving of 2019. And so I've been doing lots of different interviews. I've made it on CBN, the 700 Club. That's a global international platform to be able to share my story on their TV. There's been numerous of news channels, the radio, Channel 2, Channel 6, Channel 8, Fox 23 News. There's a radio station. There's the Bobby Eaton radio station here in Oklahoma. I've been on there. I've been on Fresh Jams 105.3. I've been on 92.1. The Success Radio, different platforms where I'm able to, there's no more shame is basically what I'm saying, and I'm here as well to help other people break out of their prisons, break out of that mindset and that lifestyle that they're living. They have to break out. And so I've been used around, I've also visited 106 Live Radio in Atlanta, Georgia, just here recently, just some months back. And I had a great time on the radio station sharing my story there in Atlanta, Georgia as well. I've been to Texas. So I do travel, and do book signing tours. My books is also in Barnes and Nobles. And basically what I'm saying is that it's not, the way I was thinking, I wasn't thinking correctly. But when it comes down to it, my story is for others. So it wasn't about me hiding and being ashamed. It's to tell other people. And I got strong enough to where I don't care if somebody made it real high. Congratulations to everybody if you made it high in school, because I did not. But I take my hat off and salute everybody that have. But due to my upbringing and things that happened to me, that's okay. There's a quote that Steve Harvey say. He say that something where you could, just because something bad happened to you and you didn't finish school or go far when it comes to education, you could still be great and you can still be successful. Now, I'm not quoting the exact words that Steve Harvey said, but he said something of that nature, and that encouraged me, And so, basically, my story is to help other people. And so, since the book's been out, I've also set up at a large event called the Tulsa State Fair. Every state have the fair that come out, and so, man, people went crazy. I had bukus of people running up, crying, hugging me, saying they saw me on the news. My story is life touching. Can they hug me? Can they buy a book and this and that? And so, so that happened at the Tulsa State Fair. I had a great time, and it's just to share with people. And also what I'm trying to get out is that you'd be surprised of what happened to other people once they meet me and know about my book and my story. I've helped them tell me a piece of their story, where it's just me and them talking one-on-one, and that they've been in prison, and they don't look like it either. When people look at me, I get compliments. What? And some people, I ran into some people, they thought I was lying. I'm like, no, I have been locked up. I have been incarcerated. I was once in prison, And so, so I meet a lot of people, and I've started I broke out of prison movement. Now, when the book I Broke Out of Prison came out, I've been getting a lot of feedback, a lot of positive reviews and different things where people want me to help them break out of prison and stop being ashamed and take a stand and tell their story. So I have a book that's coming out. It should be coming out any day, I believe, in the month of February. At its latest, at the month of February. And it's called I Broke Out of Prison 2. And so it should be released coming up. And what it is miraculous stories now of different people. It's miraculous stories of different people. And I need some men to get in on my next one that I would have coming out, that I'm going to be working on before it comes out. I got to work on it first. And I'm going to be needing some men to join on that one. So what this is that people can invest in themselves, right? And they can join me and write not a full book, and you don't have to pay a whole lot of money as if you were doing a book by yourself. This is different. You invest in yourself. It's something affordable, reasonable, and then people would have about, let's say, 9, 10, maybe 11, maybe 9 pages of something highlighted, something that stood out in their life. If somebody was facing, I don't know, I'm just thinking at the top of my head, domestic violence, a rape, a father left his son at a young age and something happened to his life, or he doesn't see clearly on the path that he's taken and he thinks that's normal and it's not normal, different things. So, so I have that coming out, and then the other one's going to be coming out, like I said, where I'll be needing some men. And also, I do not want to forget, since this is an I Broke Out of Prison movement, I have did a documentary. I've been working on a documentary for some time now, and I had like a miniature one that came out, but now this one just dropped. It's been out, but I just put it out on YouTube about a month ago. And so people can actually view the documentary on YouTube. You can look it up. It's called I Broke Out of Prison. And it's the Raittia Rogers story on YouTube. You can watch the documentary and leave a comment, like and subscribe. My goal, I know some people think I'm crazy, but my goal is to get over 1 million views on that. And it's going to happen. And so shall it be. Shemaya.
You've been listening to Refocus Radio, talking to Raittia Rogers. You can go to her website, ibrokeoutprison.com. You can also get her book on Amazon, I Broke Out of Prison. And before we let you go, people who hear this story and they're interested in having you maybe speak somewhere or just reach out to you, what's a good way to contact you? Is it mainly your website, or you have a specific email that someone can reach out to you?
Well, they could find the book on Amazon, of course. They can also go to ibrokeoutofprison.com, and they can book me in to speak at an upcoming interview and sell books, because I do book signing tours. And the email, if you just want the email, all you got to do is contact me at ibrokeoutofprison2019@gmail.com. Again, that is ibrokeoutofprison2019@gmail.com. And the reason why I have 2019 in there is because I Broke Out of Prison was released on Thanksgiving of 2019. So, yeah, Shemaya.
Once again, talking to Raittia Rogers. Want to say thank you for taking time out of your schedule and maybe we can have you back on when you have more books come out and your longer documentary when that's finished. Maybe we can get that promoted on the show as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm looking forward. Thank you very much.